The Fugi Spray Systems Q4. The blower is over there. This is the gun that comes with the Q4 system. It is a side feed gun. One thing I like about it is if you have to spray in an upward direction, you can actually rotate the cup. With the cup rotated up, you don't have to worry about it interfering with certain things, nor will it fill that check valve. We'll get into that in a few minutes. In this particular case, with what I'm spraying, and it's going to be Sherwin-Williams Chem Aqua, I'm using a number 3 needle and orifice set. Orifice goes in the front of the gun eventually, if I can get it started. It needs to be snug. It does not have to be extremely tight. Needle in the back of the gun. Make sure you don't bend it putting it in. Hold the trigger in the pulled position. Insert the needle all the way. Spring. And cap. The cap controls how far you can pull the trigger. How far you can pull the trigger limits the amount of fluid that will be delivered. I can get it to a point where it'll barely move. Back it off and I can pull the trigger farther. On the Fugi gun, this is a packing nut here. You do need to make sure it is tight enough so you do not have a fluid leak. It will happen at times. Snug it up. All the needles are probably a half a thousandth or so difference in the shaft. Sometimes you need to snug it up. This is the number 3 air cap. Around this area are 8 holes. This side for the fan has 4 holes total, 2 on each side. The holes for the center cap are quite small, and I find that if I need to clean them, my best bet is a torch tip cleaner. Air cap goes on. Retaining ring. I prefer a vertical fan to a horizontal fan, so by having the air cap horizontal, it will create a vertical fan. Product I'm shooting, like I said, is Sherwin-Williams Chem Aqua. This is somewhere around 32 seconds. This is right out of the can. It has not been mixed with anything. A 4-4 cup. And what you do, you just dip it in, make sure it's full, pull it out and start a timer. I don't have another stopwatch. If you look at the bottom of the screen where the timer is for the video, it should come out to somewhere between 30 and 32 seconds. The time stops when the cup quits running. I would normally shoot this with the number 4 tip, but somebody lost their orifice, and that somebody I guess would be me. So there you go. Should have been about 32 seconds. When you're done, make sure you clean everything. Last thing you need to do is have a mess. In this particular case, Chem Aqua is water-based. This is just plain old everyday water. Clean out the cup, and I'm going to set it aside. Be certain to filter your product. You do not want any debris in it. I've changed the position of the cup slightly to fit under this holder. This holder was actually designed for one of my Binks guns. I use a continuous use filter. I just happen to like it. I always seem to forget to order paper filters and everything, so here we go. You can dump the product in. I prefer ladling it in. The gun will hold about 3.5 ladles full. I'm going to put 3 ladle full in because with what I'm shooting, I don't have a lot of volume, a lot of surface area, I don't need a full cup. Again, clean your tools off as you go. It's just so much easier. If you just rinse this product, you're not going to remove it. It sticks pretty well even underwater. Just clean it up, be done with it. You got to do it sooner or later. Might as well do it while it's fresh. The gun obviously has a nice little stand, so when you put it down, it doesn't fall over on you. This gun will support a pressure pot and the 3 MPPS system. The reason why I have it in this configuration, this is the stock configuration when you get it. I did break the fitting off. That's epoxy holding it on. Hose for the unit has a valve on it. That valve can actually control air pressure in the gun. All the way open, half throttle, off. Now for the gun itself. This particular dial on the side of the gun, knob, this is the tightest fan position. Full fan, somewhere in between. Again, this will allow various fluids rates strictly by opening and closing the valve. In this particular case, there's no pressure, but because it is a top feed gun, just pulling the trigger, you can actually get fluid out of it. It makes cleanup easier. You don't necessarily have to plug it in. If you have it wide open, make sure you turn it down some just in case. I normally will start with the gun full fan. Somewhere around 50% of needle. Helps to know where you're at. You just don't all want to sudden have a closed fan and a wide open needle and go to shoot your product on a surface, it would just run all over. The unit itself is sitting right there. I'm going to walk over, turn it on. And that's what it sounds like. The gun will sound differently depending on what you're doing with it. Right now, nothing. I have the pressure shut off, turn on the pressure, enters the gun, and ends at the trigger right now. When I pull the trigger, air pressure not only exits the tip, it also pressurizes the cup. The check valve retains pressure in the cup until you open it. Seeing as I change needles, I'm going to look to make sure I don't have a drip there. We're good. The gun, as you spray in different configurations, will sound different. That's a very tight fan, full fluid. Very tight fan, limited fluid, wide open fan, very limited fluid. Again, I'm going to go back to about 50% and just take a look, make sure I'm happy with it. Notice there's almost no overspray. We're about right. If anything, we're touch heavy. These are the feet that go on this table. I'm going to go ahead and spray them. One more thing we're going to do here, I don't know if I can get this to actually show up on the camera, but I'm going to give it a try. This is a wet mill gauge, and what it does, the teeth will actually indicate the thickness of the material when applied wet. Dry mill system is completely different, kind of expensive. Hopefully I can actually show you how this thing's going to work. You would insert it onto your piece like that, and then look for the small bumps. Almost impossible to tell on the camera. I know I'm about 4 mils because I can see the 4 lines. And while it's doing is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 there, thousandth of an inch difference. I'm going to try it on another flatter surface, see if I can get it to work out. If not, you're going to have to take my word for it. Again, wash it off when you're done. You don't want the product building up and causing a problem. The first piece I'm going to shoot isn't all that important to anything. It's for something I need to do for my parents. Get the gauge out of the way, maybe spraying it. Drop the water off my hand on it. Believe it or not, I know that's 4 mils. Done it often enough. I just can't get it to show up on camera, so that's what we've done. We're going to shoot the table top, which is all the way down there. Perimeter first. Looks pretty even. Now comes the fun piece to shoot. Some of you may remember the design from other pictures. So here you go. I'm actually going to bring my material down into about 25% and my fan down also to about 25%. There's no use spraying a wide fan and just getting it all over everything. In this case, because the fan is horizontal, as I'm spraying this, I am literally spraying a straight line. And what I'm aiming for is the corner, so it fills the sides evenly. You can also angle the gun slightly and pick up both sides. The same on this side. Now we shoot this side.